Hi, I'm Jami Philbrick for iamROGUE.com. I'm here in Anaheim, California at WonderCon 2015, and I had a chance to talk to some of the cast and crew of the new horror film, Insidious Chapter 3. Here's what they had to say about the new movie.
I was very nervous about it being my directorial debut. I mean, any movie I was directing for the first time would have been nerve-wracking. But I think this had this extra layer of nerves because of the expectation. You know, when you're making a sequel, James has built up the world, and people expect a certain level of horror from these Insidious films, and James is one of the best horror directors out there. So I felt like Michael Jordan was playing on the court, and then they took him off and subbed me in, and it's like, what? You can't put me on to sub in for him, and so I was constantly playing catch up with that, trying to make it as good as what James would do.
You said that you took the project because you were told it shoots next week and it shoots in LA.
Well, I have more to add to that.
Tell me.
Which is that I've never had the opportunity to be in a horror movie. I mean, I love having to jump on a project quickly, and and this obviously, the way they work their budgets, you got to work fast and hard. All of us did that. Always happy to do that. But I had never been in a horror film, so really what I meant was this was a great brand new opportunity, which I thought was going to be particularly challenging for maybe obvious reasons, because it's a horror movie and you have to be really convincing. You have to create a world that's a little different than the real one. Most of the movies I've been in have been, real world stuff. But I'll tell you what, once I hit that set and the way he kept the lights really dark, it was cold in there, and I didn't have to act at all. It got creepy real quick. I was really amazed, and like a real feeling, like you're acting in a scene and I can feel the hairs on my arm standing up. Like the real reaction. Not like I'm trying to pretend like the hairs on my arm are acting up. It was really happening. So I may have undervalued that.
I remember you saying that this was your first horror film. What has that experience been like for you?
It was incredible. Like, I love horror movies, and so to be a part of the origin story of an existing franchise, and to kind of fill those shoes in a way, and to impress all the fans that were all the way, it was a little intimidating. But I had so much fun on set. It was definitely scary, and it was an intense experience. But Lee created an amazing set, and I couldn't have had more fun.
Was the prequel choice just simply because you wanted Lin Shaye to be alive?
Yeah, I really wanted to go back in time, tell Lin Shaye's origin story, the character of Elise, and I also wanted a blank slate. I didn't want to deal with anything that we had created in the first films. I actually wanted it to be completely free and clear, so that there was nothing I had to reference or take from, and that was very freeing, I think.
How does it feel to know that this movie is only a prequel so that your character could live?
I feel honored, totally honored. I mean, I think that I'm first of all, I'm so touched that people love this character, and to have the opportunity to really explore, to really let people understand who she is and how she got where she is, was such a treasure for me as an actress and as a storyteller. So as I said, I was totally honored. He wrote a beautiful arc for my character that takes you sort of into what we know Elise becomes in the first movie, but she's totally different than that when we meet her, and she's suffering with loss like everyone else in the film, and that's really the theme of the film and what draws us all together. So I'm very proud of the work we did. I hope everyone loves it. We put our heart and souls literally into it.
Was it fun to do Insidious 3 as a prequel and get a chance to explore the origin story between Tucker, Specs, and Elise?
It was. Doing this as an origin story, I didn't have to remember what had happened before. I didn't go, do we know that she's possessed? Is this? So when you meet the triumvirate of paranormal investigators, Elise played by Lin Shaye, Specs played by Lee Winnell, and Tucker played by me, they're all very disparate individuals, kind of not that interested in the paranormal for any of their own, just for their own personal reasons. What this film does is, I guess, you see them come together to eventually then go and investigate the Lamberts, who are the focus of 1 and 2. This film's much more scarier, I think, than the second one, just based on how, the fact that it's a teenage girl who is covered in plaster. She's got a neck brace, both the legs are broken, she's in a wheelchair, her mother's just died, and there is a very active demon coming to take names, and it was horrifically scary shooting it. Lee was very adamant that lights were out all the time. There's no you're not going from trailer onto set. Everything about it was geared towards making us scared and freaked out, which hopefully translates to the audience as well.
As an actress and a storyteller, what's it like to get to explore and really create the backstory on screen for a character that you've already played twice?
That was, as I said, the word treasure comes to mind again, because when we did the first one, I remember Lee and Angus, Specs and Tucker, came over to my house, and we sat and we sort of talked about who we were to each other, because we meet them as they're already in business together and they're cohorts. So we discussed a little bit about, and then as an actress, I sort of have my own secrets about, did I have children? Was I ever married? Do I live alone? Do I live, what do I do all day if I'm not, if I'm not being psychic? Exactly. And when Lee created this beautiful story, I took it even further than what he imagined, actually. And we had a conversation about that, about what is she when you first meet her? And I think it really works. It works fabulously for the arc of the character. So it was really, I think it's, for me, the favorite thing I've ever gotten to do, my favorite thing in terms of creating a full-blown person on screen.
As an actor, what's it like joining an already in-progress, successful franchise?
Really, my goal was to be Rose Byrne in this movie. Kind of damaged yet beautiful. You know what I mean? Not bad, right? She's really in trouble, but still beautiful. That was my... Patrick Wilson saves me. All of these things, I was hoping that they would come true. But they paved the way for us to make a great movie. So this wouldn't have happened without great performances from Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne and others. And really what this movie has is the through line of the same writer. Now he's helming the movie, so he's getting exactly what he saw, and all of the experience that they went through to make the other films. It's a great reboot. It starts 6 years earlier than Insidious 1. So it's an origin story, really. I can't tell you really of what, because it's way too satisfying in the movie. But if nothing else, it resurrects Lynn Shay and puts her flesh and blood back on Earth and busting ghosts. She's not going to let this one get away. And she means it. She goes full badass at the end of the movie, too. Very satisfying to see a woman, any woman, but a woman that age, literally throwing bodies across the room. Very satisfying.